Yeah, man. I mean, it's I think the evolution of where we're going. We had the Raider, and we went over to the Raider 365. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
seen that product, but it's fucking tiny.
That's fucking
like
crazy.
you like you said, man. The MP5. I mean, it's awesome. It's
Yeah.
legendary, but and the operating system is awesome. But we're what we're I guess best at is improving the interface to the shooter, which means all the controls and everything. Like again, the MP5 shoots really nice, really soft. But that's not the only thing that matters, and a big part of that too. Yeah, I mean the size and the weight of this thing. This is it's half the size and weight of an MP5K. Like it's got a longer barrel. It's got a 6-inch barrel to it. The same as like a 17-0, and then I can easily carry it
That's
concealed
fucking
on
crazy.
my body.
This episode of the Colion Noir podcast is brought to you by Vetter Holsters. So if people don't know who you guys are, like who are you?
Just a couple of dudes.
Just
This is
a
not a, this is
couple of
not a this is
autistic
not a
dudes.
dating profile. Don't get scared on me now. You're trying to do the about me section. You don't know what to write anymore. Um,
No, we don't really have any like cool guy background or anything like that. We just like guns, or just
yeah.
like anybody else, and just decided to try to make the shit that we wanted because it wasn't out there. And then luckily, some people are kind of interested in the same kind of shit that Ben and I are interested in, and buy our products. But basically, we just wanted to have a little PDW in our pants. That's pretty much the goal of Flux, is to have a
So with the
micro
flux,
PDW.
so with the flux, was it from the get go? It was intended to be something you would carry on body. Because I
Yeah.
can because I can
Yeah.
go into oh really okay because I looked at it like I so funny thing is it was Peter who kind of put you guys on my radar, my
Yeah.
videographer, right? And I had in the past I've kind of seen the kind of the conversion kits with the handguns and the Glock stuff and all that stuff like that, and for me it was cool, but it just utility side of it. I'm like, I'm not really gonna run with this. I'm just gonna be honest. Cool, but and then Peter showed me the Flux, and I think we were out in we were in Utah,
Utah.
and I was
Yeah.
I was doing Buck.
Buck Doyle's class, right?
Yep. Doing Buck Doyle course. Now, for those who watch my videos consistently, they know that I did a video on it. That's where I was when I did the first video I did on that Flux.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, it was like there was no prep, there was nothing. It was just like, here's that Flux thing I was talking to you about, and so I started kind of playing with
Yeah.
it, and I was like, I like this shit. Let's do a video real quick, and that's pretty much what we did. And in all honesty, after that video, I kind of put it to the side, and I never really kind of went back to it for a little bit. And a lot of it was partially due because I'm constantly testing different guns all the time. But then two, my brain still couldn't completely wrap my head around it. It was like, I like this thing a lot, but can it really be the thing like that it's trying to be? And then, so I started playing with my, MP5s and kind of, I'm on this TP9 kick as of late, but it's those more traditional style PDWs that made me come back to the Flux. Because when I started trying to incorporate the other PDWs into my real life, and I can, the Flux just started making way more sense, if I'm just going to be honest, in terms of my ability to have it with me most of the time versus the MP5. I think people overestimate how small the MP5 really is. And even the K version, it's not that small and it's heavy as shit.
Yeah.
But so I started kind of incorporating. I started putting it in bags and kind of running with it. And I'm like, I even started taking it to the gym. I have this like little small carry bag that I have, and I'll just dump it in there, and then it fit in there perfectly. I got freaking 40 rounds on me, and a system that I can shoot really damn well, really damn fast. And I was like, shit, this is. I really, really, really starting to like this thing from a functional standpoint. So hearing you say that was intended initially to kind of be something you carried on body, I never really thought about that.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's I think the evolution of where we're going. We had the Raider, and we went over to the Raider 365. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
seen that product, but it's
Um,
fucking tiny.
That's fucking
like
crazy.
you like you said, man. the MP5. I mean, it's awesome. It's legendary,
Yeah.
but the operating system is awesome. But we're what we're I guess best at is improving the interface to the shooter, which means all the controls and everything. Like again, the MP5 shoots really nice, really soft. But that's not the only thing that matters. And a big part of that too. Yeah, I mean the size and the weight of this thing. It's half the size and weight of an MP5K. Like it's got a longer barrel. It's got a 6-inch barrel to it. The same as like a 17.0, and then I can easily carry it
That's
concealed
fucking
on
crazy.
my body. I can
People
draw a
kind of like,
second.
yeah, people overestimate how, or I guess underestimate how small that is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's an inch longer essentially. It's just that beaver tail than a Glock 17. Like
I
it's super
yeah.
easy to carry on you. That's the whole point of Flux is to. I mean, that's the American way, I guess, is
Yeah.
to cheat in war. And if you get in a gunfight, you should fucking cheat, right?
Yeah.
And
Pretty
so
much.
our concept is why not have that other point of contact? Why not have twice as many rounds on the gun? Like you should significantly outmatch your opponent. Um, we feel like most shooters see around a 40% increase in accuracy.
Yeah.
The high level shooters,
Yeah, these are like
lower level shooters will see a way more improvement.
All right, so I've got to give a quick shout out to Vetter Holsters. They're now sponsoring the podcast. I've been using their light tuck kydex inside the waistband holster, and what I really like is how adjustable it is. You can tweak the ride height and cant to get it exactly how you want. Plus, they've got holsters for over 450 gun models in 75 different colors, so you can pretty much find whatever you need. But here's the thing that really sets them apart: their customer service. I've heard so many stories about how they've gone above and beyond to make sure you're happy with your holster, and with a lifetime warranty and a 30-day money-back guarantee, it's clear they stand behind their products. If you're in the market for a great holster, check them out at betterholsters.com. Which makes sense when you think about it. You know, it's like you got the was it 3? I always get the point of contacts wrong. It's like 3 points
Yeah.
contacts with it, like the 3 or 4.
straightforward.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
I was
But
getting it wrong too, but yeah,
yeah,
you got. I mean, with the way that I shoot this, I've got basically
uh-huh.
like a full C clamp. So I've
Yeah,
got one here, my cheek also, kind of squeezing it in with my cheek right here, and then
uh-huh.
I've got. So apart from this, I mean, this is really just running the throttle or the gas pedal.
Yeah,
And it's so much easier. Like my personal performance is drastically increased by our systems. I compete in USPSA PCC with this against like the smoothest shooting 9mm brace guns. I mean they're not really
yeah,
weapons. They're designed for competition very specifically. Full size rifles.
yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's we're all about making things smaller and more efficient, and just I guess improving the way the whole system, kind of thinking from the ground up, and
Yeah.
how uh, how we can redesign things and then create new options that just don't exist before. It's not
We're not, yeah, we're not like
trying
the
to
first ones
replace.
to do it. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
CZ, the original CZ Scorpion. I mean, freaking John Browning was trying to do this back in, with 1911s. He had a stock on
yeah.
a pistol. We just, I think the technology is there now, and the material science has allowed us to really make everything compact enough that it really makes you think, like, why wouldn't I take this instead of a pistol? Like, what's the disadvantage here? Like, it's an inch longer on the back. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot better with it, and so I don't know. Yeah, we definitely designed it to be on body carry, but a lot of dudes obviously rock it in backpacks, fanny packs.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
we're seeing a
mine.
lot of
You know, I got my.
Nice.
yeah.
I think this was probably that. What is this Gen 1? I think.
That
I don't know if you can tell by
is
looking at, because this
ours.
still this. Let me see if
That's
I
the Gen 1 Raider. Yeah.
can.
That's the
Yeah,
Gen 1 Raider.
yeah.
Yeah. So
and
we
and
had
you
we had
saw.
a Glock system prior to that, and then we had
Uh huh.
one iteration right before that that was the predecessor to that. We only made a few hundred of those, but that is what we're best known for. That's built around the
Just
320 and a lot
yep.
of different soft use those
Yeah,
Oh, you said a lot of
that was
different
kind of
what?
a
soft
soft.
special
Yeah,
operations forces.
Oh,
that was
gotcha,
kind of
gotcha.
a
Okay.
surprise to us. I mean, an honor, honestly, to hear that
Yeah,
it's been used
we did.
overseas
Yeah.
and shit, and
It's crazy.
No,
like I don't know. It's just it's got an application in that world as well. for tubular assaults, for
Yeah.
tunnels, shit like that, where you don't have a lot of space. Maybe you're a dog handler, or maybe you got a shield or something like that, or you have to conceal. And I think, I don't know, the way it seems like everything is going is people are going to be wearing less and less uniforms. They're going to blend in with the populace, our side too. And
Yeah.
so being able to have something that's underneath a jacket, underneath a flannel, and you can whip it out, and you've got, up to 60 rounds on you. It's pretty wild.
Crazy. And the funny thing is, for me, where this has really kind of become a thing. So for me, I run in my vehicles. I live in a city, so I live in downtown, and so I'm out in the and I'm out. I be out. I'm in the streets. And so I like to run. I run my Sig Rattler. That's kind of like my go-to vehicle setup. The only problem is even as small as that is for what it's shooting. We're running 300 blackout, running rifle caliber or whatnot. It's still a bit much inside of vehicle space for somebody who's not doing something more assaultive, or somebody who has the liberty to kind of run a gun like that in the open, right? I got to figure out ways to make sure I can keep it hidden so it doesn't get taken, and secure, all that stuff like that. And then it's still heavy as shit. And then on top of that, I can't really run it single-handed if I'm inside a vehicle, right? Because my biggest thing is, and people have tried to carjack me before. So my biggest thing was, like, I need as much firepower as possible, because in the situation that I was in, the car was completely blacked out. So I didn't know how many people I was dealing with, right? So, and I'm like, yeah, sure, I had a gun on me, I had a handgun on me, but it's a totally different story. You're talking about multiple people who knows what they're running. They're probably running switches, they're probably running sticks. So from that standpoint, I'm like, I need something that's going to either even the playing field or give me some type of advantage, right? And so I started going back and forth, and I'm running the Sig, and I'm like, it probably makes more sense to run this guy, even though technically it's not a rifle round, but it's still giving me a step up firepower wise that I otherwise wouldn't have with just my concealed carry that I'm running on me, because now I have the ergonomic benefit, right? So I can run it here, stable platform, and then I got 40 rounds if I'm running this, or with the 30 round mags, you're running about 60 rounds. So for me, and then on top of that, I can run a light laser combo, all that crap. So it's an entire system for me that, for the car setup, makes the most sense from my perspective, running this, right? I haven't really run the 365 version, the smaller one. But I know for me, that has been more or less a game changer for me in how my setup is inside a vehicle. Because at the same time, even if it's a quick situation, I can run this single-handedly with no problem. Right, I can shoot one-handed. I can shoot double-handed. It still functions, gives me the functionality of just a regular pistol, and I freaking love it. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's part of the reason why I wanted to have this conversation, because it fits so well in my life. For me, being somebody who lives in the city and it needs a kind of really, honestly, a very dynamic system, considering what I have to deal with and work around when I'm in the city. So I freaking love that thing, man.
That's awesome to hear, man. That's definitely the intent. The intent was so it could be used in any number of different ways, but particularly, yeah, one-handed. And yeah, I mean, if you had to do another action with your other hand, you can deploy the bracer stock with one hand
While you open up
while you're doing another action or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just faster. It's also it's another option. We love the Rattler, and I think if you did want to step up, I think
you fight your way to that.
Yeah, like you fight your way through that, but also, I don't know, like we're pretty adamant. Like a rifle sized, a rifle powered, a rifle sized weapon should be rifle powered, like a 300 black, or and vice versa. A pistol powered weapon should be pistol sized, or I guess marginally bigger for us.
But there's a lot of 9mm PCCs that are larger than a Rattler, and you're like, what are you doing? What?
It just doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense. It's cool, like, you should have as many guns as you want. I'm not saying that you should get rid of guns, dude, but like,
it's not the optimal option.
If you're really thinking about it and using it as a tool, if you're shooting 9, even 10mm, you should really be in like just barely bigger than an actual pistol. Otherwise, go to the 300 blackout. And I think you should have that in your trunk or underneath the seat, and you can fight your way towards your rifle if you can. But I mean, you're going to do great with guys shoot out to 200 with the Raider all the time. You're going to be fine. With
Yeah, no,
in an urban environment, you're going to be okay, but not.
Oh yeah, oh for sure. And I think, like and I have a bunch of different content that I have planned around the idea and the concepts of the pistol caliber carbine, right? Because they kind of come back in style, right? And everybody loves them. I don't know anybody who doesn't love pistol. Even people who think they're stupid and don't have any real utility, they love them, right? Everyone loves PCCs. But like you said, we've gotten in this weird. It's kind of like the horsepower game in cars. It's like how much power are you going to put in these damn cars? Like it's unusable at that point, right? And the same thing with the PCCs. I'm like, these PCCs are the size of pistols. I mean, the size of rifles at this point. Now, from a home defense standpoint, I get it. Like for people who are recoil sensitive, things like that. It's a lot easier to use, a lot easier to shoot for those types of people, But from a utility in terms of mobility and being able to kind of keep it with you and on you, which is kind of what the whole point of the PCC was to begin with, is having a smaller platform that gives you that intermediate firepower between going full rifle and just having a handgun. I'm like, these things just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm like, what are we supposed to do with this? And so the Flux, at least the Flux for me, because like I said, what I had the experience with, it's like that. It's literally that perfect sweet spot. Like I've been gushing over my TP9, right, from B&T. I love that thing, even though it fucking sucks. And it's
it doesn't suck. No, it's a good.
It does. It's a gun. I can admit it's an overpriced gun that sucks. But I made necessary upgrades to it that gone from loving it to being obsessed with it, right? But even that is still limited, right? Because I think it, to me personally, kind of does a better job of what the MP9 does, at least from a weight standpoint and a form factor standpoint. And once you get it, to get past its weird idiosyncrasies and its inherent flaws, like the trigger, and once and keep in mind, I'm talking about it from a semi-automatic standpoint, not from a full auto standpoint, right? And even that, as light as it is, as great as that form factor is, I realize, I'm like, damn, I think this Flux is even better, especially when you remove the whole suppressor component. But then even if I were to put a threaded barrel on this thing and then run a silencer K9 9K or something like that, I mean, we're Gucci, So for me, I think it's a great travel gun. I think it's a great hotel gun when you travel, especially if you're doing road travel, and even if you're flying, right? Because it gives you everything other than a rifle caliber.
I don't know. We definitely. I think we found a little niche in the market.
Yeah.
I think we got a long ways to go though too.
Yeah, we'll never stop.
I think eventually we want to get away from the Browning action as much as we love it. Being able to have something that's a true PDW and a fixed barrel, so it's easier to run a can on it. I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything, but
because that was gonna be my next question. Was, all right, where are we going from here?
Everything has been stepping stones to the best PDW ever designed. So we're getting there slowly but surely. We've got more and more systems coming that will
this year
vastly improve.
Yeah, we could talk about Glock. Yeah, Glock's coming back. So we started out with the Glock itself. We had a system for G17s and 34s and even some 19s. That was like our first product. We kind of didn't know what we were doing. We learned a lot about manufacturing and making something that you can actually build and scale and produce. And then just as we've taken more courses and been able to interact with more people and learn more about the industry and shooting in general, we've tweaked things, and we kind of have gone back to a side folder system instead of the telescopic rails. The original
I like the telescopic rails personally.
I do too. Like the original concept was I wanted a fucking MP7 and
Uh-huh.
I couldn't get one. And so I was like,
Mhm.
we'll just fucking make one out of a Glock, you know. And that was like the idea behind
Yeah.
Flux at the very beginning. And Ben had the forward mag concept as well. We kind of just played off of those ideas. But yeah, I don't know. We're maybe we'll go back to telescopic one day. It's
When we do, it'll be a lot better.
yeah,
We've got a lot of really cool shit coming. Um,
it is
I
cool to
think
see all the other companies in the industry start going after FCUs. You probably
Mhm.
noticed that change in the past year, especially at SHOT Show this year.
Yeah.
So we're working on a couple other options out there. I think that's the future. Being able to, you know, have the same pistol, you know, be able to transition. I guess.
Is there a dream platform that you would love to create something like the Flex out of? Like, is there a base pistol that you're like, I wish we could do this?
the Maxim 9.
Okay.
If
All
or
right.
we told the Silence Co executive, like various executives over the years, especially once they showed the non-NFA version,
Uh huh.
and we told them over and over, if you make the non-NFA version, we will absolutely make them. So I've got a box of the frames ready to go, and like we've got shit ready to go for it, whatever. But instead of doing that, they discontinued the pistol
Yeah,
altogether. So that sucks.
Did
But
you-
that's already got a fixed barrel. It's already got
yeah.
a lot of what we need. It's got a fixed optic mount. A
we
lot
love.
of different
We're
shit.
definitely looking into doing a 2011. Looking
Okay.
into the Alien as well. That's fucking sick gun.
I'm. I think the funny thing is I would be more geared towards. I'd be more excited about the 2011.
Oh, really? Yeah.
2011. Yeah, for me, I'm a 2011 whore. Like I'm one of those. I don't make any bones about it. If it's like, oh, I don't care. Funny thing is, I've actually never shot the Alien pistol.
Oh, you haven't?
And
It's
no, never shot it. Never even held it in my hand. But
Huh.
yeah, yeah. But I
from
mean,
from a design perspective, you look at
mhm,
what those guys did, and it's pretty remarkable.
yeah,
They're really forward thinking and actually doing some innovation in the industry, and we appreciate that because there's a lot of
yeah.
people that are doing, you know,
Running in circles.
it's just repetition. You know, like
Repetition.
we'll make a
Yeah,
little cheer there, but
yeah.
they did something really unique, so we appreciate that. What else? I don't know.
I mean, we've got all sorts of shit coming. We're also building around the entire ecosystem. We've got concealment rig coming that we've been working on for years and years and years. So you can I used it to carry for 2 winters like straight 3 or 4 months. Every day I was like a shirt like this, just unbuttoned
Yeah.
with a t-shirt underneath. I carried a Raider like yours, but I just chopped
Yeah.
off the optic mount and ran a slide
Mm,
riding dock and
yeah.
carry the Raider like that every day for like the best 3 or 4 months out of the year.
So like a shoulder
Um,
harness, like think '90s, you know, MP5
like
Ah,
it,
Sig
yeah,
yeah,
Rattler,
yeah,
MP5
yeah.
Secret Racer,
way
but
Yeah.
better.
not leather. Leather's dope, but
We will have a leather version
yeah, we
because I
should.
fucking need it.
Um,
but
well, yeah, that kind of shit where you can like have it on your body. I mean, the 365 is pretty easy to carry appendix, but
Mhm.
if you want to run a can and stuff like that, having it under your arm, it's even more accessible.
so
And
yeah, just I guess overall we're just improving the ecosystem in general. We're various accessories to improve it. Ways to carry it like that, a
Mhm.
holster, like a duty holster as well, so you could run it like on a duty belt or whatever. We're also working on a couple bags. Um, Different. I guess we just released a sling. Um, we're trying to build the entire ecosystem around it just to make it a complete system.
Yeah. So you know what I think would be real cool is if you did one based on a gun chambered in 5.7.
There's a very strong chance that yeah there's a couple in the running. Um,
Uh,
it's a,
yeah,
we'll see what happens. I definitely the 5.7 seems like the ammo for a long time.
yeah.
I was crazy interested in the round for a long time, but we've definitely heard a lot of feedback from Soft that I mean, that's why they approached us. Is the
Gotcha.
4.6 primarily was failing like crazy. The MP7 just wasn't putting down the bad dudes fast enough. The 5.7
It's like
similar.
putting an entire 40-round mag into
Yeah,
a
it's
dude.
crazy, and then
In
they
a
still
CQB,
get shot
yeah,
at.
in a CQB situation, the guy doesn't drop and continues to get some rounds
Yeah,
off
it's
the AK.
crazy.
So, in
Yeah, that's
theory,
nutty.
those are they're really cool rounds. But if you don't
Yeah.
have the lights out shot
Then
and
it's
you're doing a quick like, I don't know.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
been some new 5.7 offerings.
Yeah.
So I want to look at those and test them. I gotta redo my research basically,
Mhm.
and based on that,
You
like
do need a barrel
if
length.
it's something that
Yeah.
the reason why we have done it yet is just because based on my research and discussing it with like the results with Soft, we it wasn't going to be something that I would trust my life to, and we will never release a product
Yeah.
that we wouldn't personally trust. Like or as like trust is like this is the optimal choice for this
Gotcha.
category or
So
whatever
it
it is.
definitely
But
isn't a round preference in terms of
yeah. But at the same
lethality in
time,
that sense. Yeah.
yeah, I do know that I think Spear and there's been a few manufacturers who do have new rounds and they're also a lot more available, which is
Yes.
part of it too. So yeah, we're gonna be looking at it for sure. The Smith and Wesson I think is super interesting. It seems like it's the best pistol in that caliber, and then there's
Mhm.
also the Ruger is an FCU type firearm, and so that
Yeah.
is the most likely one we would use. But again, that Smith and Wesson, that it's a nice gun. It's a really cool
Mhm.
gun. So
So
we'll
what
see.
about possibly 10 millimeter?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
10 mil
Okay.
for sure, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's this year.
Okay.
For
yeah.
sure.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think with some of the new ammo that's coming out for 9 and 10, it really makes you wonder why you would go back to 5.7 or like a 4.6 round because I
Yeah.
mean yes you can
Recoil, but
recoil, but
but
some of
Maybe
that's lighter
capacity.
9. Yeah,
and
Yeah.
capacity
capacity. Yeah,
speed.
you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
but some of that 10. I mean, we're definitely doing the 10. That one's an easy one, particularly with the Glock. We do have a design for the Raider in 10 millimeter.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We designed it way before they ever released a P320 in 10 millimeter. In fact, like the original design of the Raider could uh could basically flex into both 9 and 10. Well, at that time it was 45, which wasn't. We didn't pursue it because there was no 10 millimeter P220.
Hmm.
Now there finally is. That's on the table as well. We're not entirely sure what if we will do that still, but we do have designs for it. And then the Glock will definitely come with whether it's 10 mil 40. I have an original Glock Flux kit in 460 Rowland too, which that shit is that's some really spicy.
It was funny, man. Like we can kind of track where the 10 millimeters went, the Glock ones back then, and it was like 90% to Alaska
Yeah,
for
yeah,
bear
Really?
defense. Yeah,
Gotcha.
it was fun.
Because I'm not
yeah. I
gonna lie to you.
did.
Because I carried a Glock 20 when I did my elk hunt. I carried a Glock 20 when I did my bison hunt. And so if there was a Raider, I'd probably run that because again, size wise, it's possible. I can do it easily without any issues. And then at that point, yeah, I'm walking. Even though technically speaking, I was probably overestimating what that 10 millimeter could do against a fucking elk or a bison, but. Yeah, I'm a city boy. I don't know any better. So,
Pretty cool.
I'll say it again.
Oh, I just said, yeah, 10's pretty. I don't know. 10's
Yeah,
amazing, honestly. And I think people got away from it because of the recoil. We know that's why
yeah.
FBI ended up ditching it. And I think now because you got that other point of contact, it's like that'll
Mm-hmm.
do it for Delaware. You should.
Yeah,
It's
Yep.
the reason for that round to come back in a lot of ways. If you can keep the form factor small enough that a cop can have a Glock 10 millimeter with a flux on it and whip that out.
That
Bam.
yeah. That is that's it's cliche, but it's kind of a game changer at that point.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
man, I really
besides that,
appreciate.
yeah, we just do.
Yeah.
We've got two other companies. I don't know if we've ever. I don't even think they were
No, I didn't
around
know
when
that.
I saw you last
Yeah.
week. But
probably not.
We make small EDC tourniquets. It's
Uh-huh.
something that we know about. Like our it's called the snake sack
Ah, okay.
tourniquet.
Wrong way. Sorry.
It's basically imagine a cat, but 60% smaller than that.
Milo.
So it's the 365 or Glock 43X of tourniquets. It's
Oh,
something you can
tickets.
actually have
It's
on your
pretty
body.
dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Got a few other upgrades.
yeah, I mean, I just keep a trauma pack in my truck because, like you said, like generally speaking, I'm not gonna be able to carry. Well, now you have that, but not necessarily gonna have to carry that on my body just going throughout my day. But
Yeah, we were kind of. I mean,
that's different.
Just makes it really.
you should have one on your body, really, and that's because
Basically,
I
that's
mean, as a civilian, you're actually probably more likely to come across someone who needs medical aid than having to
having to
shoot
shoot
someone.
somebody.
Like
Yeah,
statistically, you're more
yeah,
likely to come across car crash or whatever, just freak accidents. We have a buddy whose kid was jumping on a tramp and landed on a fence, and he ended up having to apply a tourniquet to him. So
oof,
we've had over 2 dozen saves in the past year with that tourniquet,
oh,
which is
that's freaking
awesome.
awesome. Yeah,
Because people are actually like, instead of maybe your spare mag, they put it in their appendix rig
yeah,
because you're more likely to use that than have to go through two
go
mags,
to
or
mags.
maybe
Yeah,
they have one in their pocket or whatever. And
yeah.
yeah, something we're trying to push is just kind of help people realize the medical sides. Plug
I
holes
mean,
and sorry,
it's not
if you're gonna make holes, you should be able to plug holes.
yeah, it's a harder sell because it's not as sexy. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I carry a med kit in my trousers,
Nice,
But
cool
you,
nerd.
yeah. But the funny thing is, what's crazy is people will look at you crazy. Like if you tell somebody, I would get crazier looks if I told somebody I carried a med kit on my body versus carrying a firearm. But like as you pointed out, there's a higher percentage chance I'm going to need the med kit more than I would need the gun. But yet people would look at me crazy if I did just the med kit. And so that's just funny how that just kind of works, But like, as the saying goes, I mean, it's guns are a lot sexier, but
Yeah.
But it's a crazy world out there, man.
yeah,
You carry a gun because you are aware that the world can be violent, um, and we get all these reports back from people using our tourniquets. Usually, they're police reports, and you would believe some of the shit that comes in about
Yeah.
crazy people on PCP going around with
um,
katanas and cutting people's hands off and stuff like that. That was a real thing that
Yeah.
happened, and they used our tourniquets to stop it. And
Yeah.
that sounds like a fucking movie or something,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
But we have
that
the police
happened in
report.
California.
Yeah.
Like, there's that crazy shit that
I
can
think that
happen.
was Florida.
Was it Florida?
I think that was also.
That checks
that
out.
sounds like Florida.
But yeah, that shit can happen, and you actually do need a tourniquet. Like people, you'll bleed out. You can't really. You can use a belt to a degree, but
Yeah,
even in the people are very familiar with the Boston marathon bombing. There was only actually one tourniquet that was actually used.
One product.
Yeah.
There was 20, I think 6 or so total
Mhm.
applied, but
Yeah,
25 of them were improvised, and they all failed. Like none of them failed because it's just. And this is a
yeah.
trauma. This is a trauma surgeon who knows his shit, applying doing his best to save
But he
people
can't.
in an event with mass casualties. And yeah,
You're just trying to use belts and shoelaces, but
yeah.
that shit just won't work. You need the proper tool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
proper, especially when it's the size of a 365 17 round mag, like this tiny little thing that you can have available.
Yeah, we'll
It's
send you one, dude. It's a cool
okay.
little product, and it's nice to carry on your person.
meant to be. It's
Yeah,
like the 365. It's like a small little carry gun as opposed to your large tourniquets that are the standard size, where you stop the bleeding. Because again, that you can die from a broken leg if you have a compound fracture and that hits your artery, your femoral
yeah,
artery. You got 2 minutes of consciousness and then 3 minutes until you're dead. Like that,
It's crazy.
which again that can happen from a motorcycle accident, bike
yeah.
accidents that have happened where that's happened.
And
Say you're
I ride my bike
climbing,
a lot. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, dude.
yeah, whatever it is, like or just a crush injury as well that can happen from
yeah,
that. Like people always think tourniquets and they think combat, but it's
yeah.
accidents happen every day, everywhere. What? what kind of sparked the whole thing was blood loss is the leading cause of preventable death from trauma, and that's in America and around the world. Which is it was kind of a mind. I just didn't realize it's such a hefty cause of death.
Yeah.
It's preventable. Like you could stop it if you stop the bleeding. You can save the person or yourself or whatever. And so, me being a Boy Scout, I wanted to carry my person. It was too big. It was just a pain in the ass. It was cumbersome, and then it like sticks out and like, well, hey,
Yeah.
what's that in your pocket? I can conceal a rifle, but the tourniquet
Yeah.
was hard. And
Yep.
so looked at it and then redesigned it into this tiny little thing. Showed him, and then he improved it he added this that the carabiner gate. It's the only tourniquet that we've tested in our testing. Like with we're basically simulating care under fire, where you apply a tourniquet, but while there's still like fire going on. Like obviously you should secure the scene first, but sometimes say like some sort of active shooter event, that 2 or 3 minutes, if you wait 2 or 3 minutes for the scene to be secure, that dude's already dead or whatever, or your family member's dead. So being able to apply it, and then if you need to move the patient to a safer area or whatever, the windlass of that tourniquet, the what you do to apply leverage and tighten it up,
Uh-huh.
the lock mechanism on a lot of tourniquets can fail if they snag, and then people even after being saved can
Damn.
die just
Because
because that comes loose and the tourniquet fails. Whereas our locking mechanism is like a carabiner, and we've never gotten it to fail.
Yeah.
We run it out. We do crazy testing, and so we have a bunch of like little improvements besides the actual, I guess, shrinking of the product. But I
yeah.
don't know. It's like
Sorry, dude. We just been on this weird medical thing.
yeah. Sorry, it's like
No, but
this.
the funny thing is, it's actually
It's all
as
related.
interesting to me because I took a stop to bleed course,
Oh
so
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, so this is just revamping everything that I learned from that course, and I'm like, holy shit, I didn't even think about that because like you learn how to tie tourniquets and how to deal with crushing issues or cuts, so forth and so on. And so I'm like going through memory lane as you're talking about it,
very
and
good.
and it's crazy how like you said, it's so easy to overlook it because like again, it's not as sexy, and like you pointed out, it's a little cumbersome to do. Like I keep a trauma kit in my vehicles, but like it's just sitting in my vehicles. It's not on me because it's too big, and so that's actually pretty dope. Actually, yeah. So please, I would love one of those to kind of run it and see how I can incorporate it because I almost feel like you took a stop to bleed course and you don't carry anything on you to stop the bleed.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can
You know
carry,
what I
if
mean?
you can carry one
Like,
thing on you, it's carry the
The
tourniquet because you
yeah,
can improvise some of the other shit.
You can
And
stuff a wound with a T-shirt or other
yeah,
material. Stop
but
bleeding.
you can't.
You can improvise a chest seal, etc. But the tourniquet is the hardest thing to improvise. And again,
the shit
it's
that's
one of the
gonna
things
kill
that
the
kill you the
yeah,
fastest.
the shit that's gonna kill
Yeah,
you before you can get to the hospital is bleeding
is
out.
it
So that's why the tourniquets. If you can rock one thing,
rocked it?
don't maybe not have a huge ice pack in your back pocket and have a George Costanza moment where you have like a huge wallet, but like a tourniquet, yeah, that is something you got on you. Besides that, we also have a weird little. I think you'd like this. You do some
Yeah,
long range shit, don't you?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit,
We
a little
have.
bit.
It's called the scope switch. So this is our other sister company called
Uh huh.
Antimatter, and basically what it does is it electronically zooms your
Oh shit.
LPVO or
Oh.
your long range. And so you can have the button back here on the stock. So
Uh
when
huh.
you're in the prone or on a tripod,
You can.
instead of having it come off the rifle, you can actually just zoom real quick back here. Kind of just feels like I don't know anything you can do to
It,
just get you back
so
on
it's a bit.
target a little faster.
Yeah,
Hunting is awesome too.
because it definitely can take you out of rhythm to kind of when you're in prone and then you have to come over the top, kind of change your magnification and whatnot. So that's actually pretty dope.
And
Look at
it's
you guys.
yeah, we're just kind of ADD. It's everything. Our main thing on that one is like when you go out and train, you know where the target is. You already know
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm shooting at 1,000. You probably already have a dope. Like you know where it's going to be, but in real life, you don't. You're searching for that prior to engaging.
Yeah.
Whether you're hunting four-legged creatures or two-legged creatures, you're going to be trying to find it first and positively ID that, and being able to zoom in and out quickly and fast without while staying in a shooting position, so you don't have to like let go of your rifle
Yeah.
and come back. It's a pretty big advantage. We do it with, we use them on 11.5 MCXs. There's one up there.
That's our
That's
manual
pretty
version up there.
It's kind of wild.
You have an electronic version coming, but that's the current version that's out. It's just manual operated.
kind of
Runs
okay.
on a cable and pulley system. And yeah, I mean it works super well in our testing where you have to actually ID the targets prior to shooting at them because again, it's super important for real life that
Yeah.
people just don't. I think it's just hard to train for. I'm pretty sure is why people don't do it. And especially when you're setting up the targets yourself, ideally you'd have a course of fire where your buddy sets it up for you. You don't know what's going on, and there's some no shoots out there. They're not obviously like it's not like say a competition where it's white and brown or whatever.
Brown, yeah.
It's like crazy obvious. Instead, it would be like there's something in their hand or whatever. Is that a phone? Is that a gun or whatever?
Yeah.
And then you have to ID them as a threat prior to actually shooting and engaging them. In tests that we've done like that, it's roughly twice as fast depending on the shooter, but on average it was almost exactly twice as fast to complete the courses of fire as opposed to a traditional throw lever. It's very simple. Basically eliminate the variables where you have almost identical rifles side by side. They both shoot great, and then run them through a bunch of different shooters to get that remove the shooter as a variable, and it's great. That was the manual one. The electronic one I think is going to be a little bit better.
LPVOs just don't really make sense unless you have constant control of it, because otherwise use a red dot or a magnifier.
Yeah.
Honestly, like if you're going to reach back to the back of your gun, like use a 5x magnifier.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I kind of go back and forth with LPVOs. I think for me, I think I like. Say it again.
Oh, I'm just interested in what you think about them. What you run.
Oh, so I like to shoot fast, and so I noticed the difference big time in a 1X when it comes to shooting. Before when I was more of a novice shooter, I didn't think I noticed. I'd like it's not a big difference between 1 and 0 essentially, and I noticed a difference. I noticed a big difference, but at the same time too, there are certain distances where it's like I want to be really sure about what I'm hitting, and that 6th time or that 4th time kind of gives me a little bit of assurance, and it's not so magnified where you just start seeing the kind of all your trimmers and things like that. So I feel comfortable shooting at that, and I feel like with an LPVO, I don't necessarily think it's going to be something I'm constantly going back and forth with, so I can set it. And then in a situation where I would need that magnification, since I'm dealing with that extra distance, I can just run it and be good. Because it's but like to your point, and I think about it again, I've never gone, all right, I'm at 1, let me go to 3. It's like 1 and then 4.
One or all together.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized. I was actually hog hunting in Texas, and the first time I thought, okay, hey, we really need to go after this was, you start shooting, and they're always in like swarms of like 20 hogs, right? And they just disperse everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, and you're like, I was shooting. I think it was on the Scar 17, and I like pull back. I go from, I think I had a 1 to 6, and I go back to 1, and they're gone. And I'm like, no, well, fuck.
Yep.
So I should have just probably stayed at 1 or something like that, because they immediately ran out of the field of view, and that's like a novice mistake on my part. But I think that's probably true of combat too. Like people aren't going to stand around while you shoot at them; they're going to move, and so being able to, while you still engage, zoom out a little bit and then re-engage. Even taking Buck's class, like shout out to Buck again. Like I realized he would have us do those courses of fire that were so fast, but you were engaging at 300 or 400 yards. And a lot of us wouldn't have time to actually get onto the LPVO and change it. You just shoot at 1X.
Yeah.
But if you had a pressure switch, just like a unity button or whatever, a pressure pad, and you were able to zoom a little bit, maybe I would have taken that time and that millisecond to zoom into 3 or 4X. So you end up actually using your scope more.
Way more. It completely changes it, and it's hard to kind of I guess it's hard to convey without actually
Doing it.
having the person test it. It's
When people get behind the gun, they're always like, "Oh fuck, this is Call of Duty," because Call of Duty you
it's great.
automatically do that. You're like, you
Yeah,
press the
yeah.
L button and you zoom
And it's
in.
just there. Yep.
It's just
And
there.
we take that for granted because you can't actually do that in real life until
Yeah.
now.
And there is going to be, like, depending on your course of fire and your distance and what your targets look like, there is going to be an ideal magnification for each
Hmm.
target. Like, obviously, you can hit 500 yards with a red dot,
Yeah.
but the
But
ID again, to like make sure that's actually a threat before you engage them. You got to get good visual, and then so
Yeah,
whether you're at
I
one.
don't think people get that. Like, we tell guys like, hey, have a buddy go 100 yards away from you and
mhm.
hold up either his Glock or his phone. I mean, do this in a safe. Like, don't do this on the street. But it is extremely hard to tell the difference, even at 100 yards, between someone
Yeah.
holding their iPhone like this, taking a picture, and a Glock.
Yeah. Even
We know
honestly,
that because we've tested it, and you can only really tell with an LPVO or a magnifier behind the
yeah,
red dot. If you're actually going to take that step and shoot at something at distance, you need to positively
to
ID
know.
the target. You can't just send around.
Say,
You know.
yeah. And I mean, even something less extreme as that is reading wind. You
Yeah.
know, the ability to, because some, you know, just depending on your environment, sometimes I'm using the grass blades to try to read wind. I can't do it at a one time, so I'm going to need that magnification to see what that grass is doing or what the leaves are doing in the trees and so forth and so on to kind of get an indication, or even what it's doing on the water if you're doing that. So yeah, that is definitely taken for granted in a lot of ways, because, and I only know because like you guys, I've taken Buck's courses and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and so you know, I've trained myself now because of him. I tend to use less magnification than I probably should to take certain shots because I want to be able to read as much information as possible. But to be able to have that ability to kind of zoom in automatically, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom, yeah, that would be kind of pretty dope.
Yeah. Even if you're using it, not if you're, you might not even be taking the shot at 6x or 8x or 10x, but
Yeah,
you use that to positively ID, and then you can come back so you can
come
see
back
your
out.
splash. Like, one of the things that I
Yeah,
love that Buck,
yeah.
one of the things that I love that Buck taught was, hey, if you're gonna miss low so you can see your
See
splash
what?
at the, and then you can make wind calls off of that. And I was
Yeah,
like, oh, that makes so much more sense instead of sending like 5 or 6 rounds and not knowing where the hell they went. Um, and being able to really like, okay, I'm going to send one, and then I actually have some data for the next shot. That guy's a
like
genius. I freaking love
yeah.
that dude.
I mean, I've incorporated some of that thought process to my handguns too. Sometimes, like when I've done videos in the past where I'm shooting long distance with a handgun,
Mm.
like you'll see me take a couple shots, and people aren't realizing like I'm missing super low on purpose. So one, I can
Yeah,
see where that drop is, and I can get that feedback because otherwise you're just missing into the berm, and so I
fucking
need something
wasting
to
ammo.
skip to
Yeah,
give me yeah, and so I'll shoot super
but
low
you're
on
not always
purpose,
shooting
watch
it
that
against
one.
a. Yeah, I mean that's what I liked about Buck's class too, because you're not shooting against a berm every single time.
Yeah,
You're shooting,
yep.
and the berm might
You
be
can just,
another 100 or 200 yards away from that, and so you
mm-hmm.
really can't call off of that splash where your round's actually going. So I don't know, just
Yeah,
getting data quickly, and I think there is a definite place for the LPVO, and being able to control it more is kind of what we're trying to mess around with right now. It's kind of a skunkworks project, you know. It's Flux is definitely
guys.
our baby, but we love messing around with this other shit.
Hell yeah, hell yeah! I love it, man. Well, you guys keep killing it, man. I love what you guys got going so far. I mean, hell, y'all talked about two things I didn't even know about. Now I'm like, shit, man, that's actually interesting as hell. So, but no, keep killing it, man. I love, like I said, I love this guy. This is my kind of little baby. I'll probably doing a follow up video on it because I hadn't done one since then. But I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come onto the podcast and shoot the shit with me. And
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you, man. I mean, the first time that
It's an
you
honor.
posted that video, it honestly blew us up quite a bit, and there are a lot of people that had no idea who we were, and then they watched
yeah,
your stuff, and we, came over and became customers. So we appreciate
that's
you.
freaking awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
love it, man. Love it, man. Any way I can
Keep
help.
it up.
Yes, sir.